Imagine walking into a room that was locked from the inside. No broken windows, no secret passages, no signs of a struggle. Yet the man who was inside had completely vanished. This is the mystery of Daniel Carter. On a cold October evening, Daniel Carter returned home. Security cameras saw him enter. Neighbors heard music. Then, silence. The news shocked the city. A disappearance that defied logic. A man gone, with no way out. By Tuesday, Daniel missed work for the first time in 10 years. Police found his apartment locked from the inside. The scene was frozen in time. Nothing moved. Nothing was out of place. It was a fortress of solitude. His wallet and phone were still there. It was as if he had simply stepped out of existence while checking his messages. There were no signs of a struggle, no forced entry. Just the crushing weight of a silence that wouldn't break. The forensics team combed every inch. They searched for DNA, for a stray hair, for anything that didn't belong. Initially, police looked at his colleagues. A promotion was on the line, a rival with a motive. But he had an airtight alibi. The neighbors were questioned. One reported a strange scratching sound weeks before, but dismissed it as rats. Detectives spent hundreds of hours reviewing every second of surveillance footage from the building's perimeter. They looked for anomalies, for shadows that didn't move with the light, for any sign of a ghost. The lead detective couldn't sleep. The theories were becoming increasingly desperate. Escapologist? Voluntary disappearance? Spontaneous combustion? They checked the roof, the maintenance ladders. Every exit was sealed from the outside. It was a closed system, a biological paradox. A man goes in, but he never comes out. The breakthrough came from the basement. Not from a clue, but from a piece of forgotten history. A detective dug through the city's architectural archives, looking for anything the current blueprints might have missed. He found a maintenance plan from 1924. A series of shafts designed for a central heating system that was never installed. There it was. A void. A space large enough for a person to stand, yet completely invisible on modern plans. The shaft ran from the basement to the roof, with access points hidden behind the original wood paneling of each floor. It was a ghost passage, a highway through the building's skeleton that no one had used for nearly a century. Armed with the map, detectives returned to room 402. They began to tap, to listen, to feel for a seam. They didn't just find a void. They found a heartbeat. Someone was breathing on the other side of the plaster. They tore the wall open. What they found inside was more disturbing than any theory they had imagined. A secret world. A space occupied by a man who had been living in the shadows for over 3 years. He wasn't just hiding. He was watching. He had drilled tiny holes into the back of the vents to observe the tenants. Daniel Carter hadn't vanished. He had been taken. Silenced because he had seen the intruder's eyes through the bedroom vent, his watch, his keys. The intruder had been living with Daniel's belongings, in the walls Daniel thought were his own. The ultimate invasion of privacy. A life lived in parallel, just inches away, separated only by a layer of wood. The intruder was a squatter, a man who knew the building's secrets better than any architect. He moved through the walls like a phantom. The scale of the obsession was chilling. Thousands of hours of observation. A man who had become a ghost by choice. The manhunt moved into the building's veins. A tactical team was sent into the shafts to flush the ghost out. It was a claustrophobic pursuit, a game of hide and seek in a labyrinth of concrete and iron. He was cornered in the basement. He tried to vanish one last time, but there was nowhere left to hide. The suspect was captured. The ghost finally had a face. Justice, of a sort, had finally arrived for Daniel Carter. His name was never widely released, but his crimes would haunt the building's residents for generations. The intruder never explained why. Some secrets are kept not out of necessity, but out of a dark, twisted desire to remain hidden. But for the people who call this city home, the sense of security was gone. They realized the walls had ears and eyes. The case of Daniel Carter reminds us that the most familiar spaces can harbor the most chilling secrets. Some mysteries are solved. The man in the walls was caught, but the fear remains. What else is hidden in the shadows of the places we call home? Stay vigilant. The walls are always listening. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more deep dive true crime investigations. Night falls.